Hey, sir. Sir, can I get your attention over here for a second? Hey, Officer Painchaud, what are you digging around for in there?
I have a gun here on me.
You have a gun, you said?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, all right. Hey, folks, time out right here. Let's break this down. Adam Painchaud and Brian with E3 Firearm Association. What we're going to talk to you about is how to interact with law enforcement in a traffic stop type of situation. So let's talk about some of the don'ts or maybe some things to consider here. And let's get a disclaimer out there. First off, hey, we're on a range here. Obviously, it's not a real traffic stop. I am a police officer, not acting in any official capacity right now, obviously. We want to talk to you about what to do, if maybe you're carrying concealed and you're stopped, a motor vehicle type of stop, and how you should interact with law enforcement. And maybe some of the things you shouldn't do. Brian, you had any experience with this before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll kind of break it down. So let's kind of break down what just happened. As I was approaching the car, from the police officer standpoint, as I'm looking, these windows are pretty tinted, but I can still see through the back. And what I wasn't seeing is I wasn't seeing the driver sitting right here. I was seeing the driver, Brian, in this case, kind of leaned over reaching for stuff. So as we're back there as law enforcement, when we initially, turn on the lights and we get you to pull over, we're watching you. We're watching the driver and seeing what you're doing. It always makes me nervous when I see somebody digging around, and I'm always thinking to myself, well, what are they digging for? They look for a gun, they trying to hide some drugs, what is the case? Even though it may be completely innocent, like in this case, I'm sure Brian was just trying to look for his license, registration, his documents, and things like that. And we realize most of the time that's what you're doing, but there's always that unknown that's going to kind of put us on edge a little bit. So something to consider, and consider, please. This is not legal advice. These are just recommendations based on experience. Something to consider is, don't do anything. First off, when the lights go off behind you, you realize, you're getting pulled over. What you want to do is find a safe place to pull over that's fairly immediate. If you don't feel comfortable immediately pulling over, maybe put on your blinker and maybe kind of go slow, ride the edge of the road, and find a safe place for you to pull over. Once you do find a safe place to pull over, what I'm going to suggest to you is once you pull over, put your car in park. So that's one thing. So as I'm back there and I'm seeing brake lights on because you put on the brake, I'm thinking to myself, well, is this guy trying to take off? What's the deal here? So something to think about is pull over, put your car in park. And at that point, what I recommend you to do is put down both your driver's side and your passenger side window. The side that the police officer is going to approach on is going to vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction a little bit. Some will approach on the driver's side, some on the passenger side. Sometimes traffic will play into that a little bit. So I'd recommend just go ahead and put your driver's side and passenger side window down if that's feasible for you to do. And one other tip, if it's dark, so if this is a traffic stop at night, what I would also do, combined with putting your window down, is if you got a dome light, an overhead light, go ahead and put that on. And that's just courtesy. So in this case, Brian, he's got a light right up there, so he can flick that on. That way he's kind of lit in here, he's backlit, so I can see him better. And as I'm approaching, I can see the interior of his car. And that's just courteous. And again, this isn't things you need to do, it's just some advice, and it's going to set the police officer's mind at ease. So I walk up and I see, hey, a window down, I see a dome light, I see the driver sitting here, he's not, getting in anything. That's going to kind of set my mind at ease. And the other thing is these things right here. So as law enforcement, we're always concerned with what these are doing, what the hands are doing. And if we can't see the hands, we're asking to see the hands, or we're concerned of where they are. So as a courtesy, what Brian's doing right here is a great thing to do. It's a great recommendation. Just have your hands right up on top of the wheel. So as I'm approaching from back there, I see windows down, I see dome lights on. If it's dark, I see him, he's just sitting here patiently, and he's got his hands up on the wheel. And this is going to set our mind at ease. So when we walk up, I'm thinking, okay, this is a law-abiding citizen, maybe going a little bit too fast, or ran that stop sign a little too late, or whatever. But obviously they respect law enforcement, and they're going to cooperate with what I'm trying to do here, the investigation. So this is a great way to kind of start off. This is great initial interaction right here. And as far as communication at this point, let the officer go ahead and speak first. Most likely they're going to identify themselves. Hey, I'm police officer so and so with this jurisdiction. And likely, not always, but likely they'll say, hey, I want to let you know I pulled you over because you're going a little bit too fast. And that will typically lead to some questions like, hey, going to see your license, registration, maybe proof of insurance, things like that. As far as communication is concerned, after we've got this out of the way, likely the police officer's going to be asking for some things, probably identifying themselves and maybe telling you, maybe telling you why they pulled you over, and then probably asking you for some documents, license, registration, proof of insurance, things like that. Let the question be asked, I would suggest, before you just start digging for stuff. When you're digging around for stuff, we're thinking, what are you digging for? And we don't want you immediately opening consoles, opening compartments in your car, getting your wallet out of your back pocket, things like that. That was always kind of, we're thinking to ourselves, what's this person doing? So wait for the question to be asked. Once the question's asked, hey, let me see your registration, license, proof of insurance. That begs the question of what? What are we thinking at this point?
Well, I mean, my insurance is in where my firearm is, and I'm going to go reach in there for it.
Yeah.
Should I tell the officer right now that I have it or not?
Great dialogue here. Should you tell the officer that you're carrying a gun or not? You have a concealed permit, you're carrying a gun. Should you say things or not and identify that you have a firearm on you? Well, legally, it's going to depend state by state. Some states will require you, if you're a concealed carry holder, to let the officer know that you do have a gun on you. Some states, it's not a requirement. Now, I'll tell you this, being a police officer and having pulled over a fair amount of cars, my advice to you is let the officer know when it makes sense. It's not something you just want to just get right out there, but when it makes sense, preferably before you start reaching for anything, when it makes sense, go ahead and let the officer know, hey sir, just want to let you know, hey officer, I do have a concealed carry permit and I am carrying my pistol today. You don't need to give a ton of information, but give that. And typically the officer will say something like, hey, where is it located? What you don't want to do is, oh yeah, it's right here. Obviously, don't reach for it. Hey, it's on my right hip, or hey, it's on my left ankle, or hey, it's in the glove box over there. And that's courteous.
How about if I tell the officer right away, hey officer, I just want to let you know I'm carrying a firearm. It's on my hip right now, or hey, it's in my glove compartment. What would you like me to do?
Good to go. That's perfect. And what I'm hearing right there, the way Brian was just talking to me as the police officer, he's got his documents there. He's asking the question. He's saying, what would you like me to do? Things like that. Throwing that right out there. I'm thinking to myself, okay, this person's a law-abiding citizen. They don't mean me any harm, because you may not realize it, folks, but police officers, we're going into an unknown. There's no normal traffic stop. Any traffic stop could turn into a pretty serious situation for us out there. So we don't know you. We don't know what to expect. You may be having a really bad day. You're late for something or whatever. So we don't know what's going on up here. So that courteous, that smile, that hey, I just want to let you know this. That really goes a long way. So saying something like that I'm going to really appreciate that as a police officer, even though it may not be legally required. So either he lets me know, hey, I have a firearm, or I ask the question. And like we said, in some states can be required, some states not. What you definitely don't want to do is go reaching for it. Most likely in most cases, at least that I've experienced, is once you've disclosed that, hey, I got a gun on me, it's at this location, most police officers are like, hey, appreciate you letting me know. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And then they'll just continue on. If that's the case, good to go. They may give you more specific instructions. They may want to know where it is, and in some extreme cases, they may want to secure that gun, take possession of it. That's pretty rare, but it does happen, and that's something we could talk about in the future. But really at this point, what you're going to do is really just comply with the instructions. Police officers got a job to do. Basically what they want your documentation. They're going to go back there, check it out. Probably your plate has already been run at this point, so they're really just trying to determine what your driver's history are, if you have a valid driver's license, things like that. In some cases, if state by state, they may verify in a central system that you do have a valid concealed carry permit, something like that. And then at that point, it's just typical interaction that you'd expect on a traffic stop. Something I would advise against is getting it right out there, from the driver's perspective of, hey, why'd you pull me over? We're going to let you know. We're going to let you know why we pulled you over, or hey, what'd you pull me over for? It just kind of comes off as kind of negative. And even though you're curious and want to know why, you're going to get to know why. The officer's going to tell you. And if they don't, when the traffic stop's rolling up, you can certainly ask the question. I wouldn't just get it out there. They're going to let you know what you did wrong, what type of violation, and things like that. So it's just some general schools of thought to think about. On approach, what to do as you're getting pulled over. Little things you can do that are kind of courteous. Things to think about as far as where your hands are, and not digging for stuff in advance, and disclosing the fact that you do have a firearm if you do is always a great way to go, and it's courteous, and it really sets our mind at ease. Had this happened to you before?
Yeah, quite a bit. And matter of fact, I think, you talk about what's legal, what's not, if it's required or not. But there's also common sense and respect to law enforcement where, even though it might not be required, the fact is you don't want to be spread eagle on the highway because you didn't communicate properly or whatever, and now you've turned a situation you were totally legal into a bad situation.
Yeah.
So, I have had this happen a lot, and I've noticed, and I say a lot because I'm in an area where there's checkpoints and, we're on boats a lot, and they just usually for safety reasons pull us over, and it's the same thing. Whether I'm on a boat or in a car, I do the same exact thing. So I'd like to run some do's and don'ts by you and some things that I used to do until I learned from you and get some thoughts and certain ways you talked about communication and telling the officer right up front.
Yeah.
In some ways I used to before hold out when the officer's getting out of his car. I usually would hold out my two identifications with my hands like this, and just when he come up say, "Hey officer, I just want to let you know that I'm licensed, I do have a firearm in the car, what would you like me to do?" Yeah. Now, that's not having my hands on the wheel, but is this better or worse, or what are your thoughts?
It's a decent solution. What I personally prefer to see is, your hands are just up on the wheel, because at some point you probably didn't have those in your hands driving down the road, so you would have had to got those out. And police officers are very aware. From the moment before the lights even came on behind you, we're watching you. So we saw the traffic violation before the lights even came on. So when the lights come on, we've already been watching you. We've been watching your driving behavior, and we're watching you to see if you're doing anything that's squirrely. And definitely when the lights come on, once you're getting pulled over, what's that driver's behavior? Are they fidgety? Are they reaching for something? Does it look like they're trying to cover up something? They reaching around underneath their seat, in glove boxes, reach in their back pocket, things like that. That any type of movement like that fruitless movement is, making us think, something here's not right. So my advice is literally just do exactly what I said. Come to a complete stop, put the car in park, no foot on the brake and drive. That's never a good thing. We see the brake lights, something's wrong, right? And roll the windows down, turn the dome light on if it's appropriate for the lighting conditions, hands up on the wheel, and just wait for the questions. So when I roll up and I see hands up on the wheel, go ahead and put your hands up on the wheel, Brian. I roll up and I see this, he's looking at me, the windows down, I see the dome lights on. Instantly I'm thinking, hey, all right, this is good. This guy's not, he's not meaning me any harm. Maybe he was going a little too fast. It is what it is. We'll give him a warning, get him out of here. No big deal. But when I see him reaching in for things or fidgeting around, then I get nervous. And instantly, let's say I get aggressive behavior of, I walk up and he's like, hey, why'd you pull me over? One of those things. I'm instantly thinking,
why are you hostile?
Yeah, why are you hostile? I got a job to do, and you obviously had some type of violation, and I'm just going to investigate that and get you out of here. No big deal, right? So that type of behavior, getting the arms up there, this really sets your mind at ease. So that's going to go a long ways, and follow specific instructions. So hey, sir, reason I pulled you over, going a little too fast today. Do you have a valid license?
Yes, I do.
Where's your license located, sir?
It's in my console here.
All right, anything in that console I should be concerned about, anything like that?
Yes.
What do you got?
I have a firearm license. I'm licensed to carry a firearm. I have a firearm.
Excellent. I appreciate you telling me that. You said it's in the glove box?
Yes.
Cool. Just go ahead and get your license for me then, nice and slow.
Okay.
So gets it out, produces his documents. Hey, you got proof you got registration?
Yes.
Yeah, where's that located?
It's right here, my glove.
Anything in there I should be concerned about?
My firearm's in there.
Okay, yeah, just go ahead and get it out. I appreciate you letting me know. So I can see the glove box open, maybe I can see a firearm or not, it gets me the documents, and then at that point, typically it's stay here, I'll be right back. And there's another good one. So, I've got the documents, I've told the driver, hey, just sit tight for a second, I'll be back, let me just go check this out. Basically what we're doing is we're going back to our cars, and in most cities, states, jurisdictions, there's mobile data terminals inside the vehicles, or we're calling dispatch. So we're basically going to check your license out, make sure you're valid, see what your driver's history is, things like that. And you either get a ticket or you get a warning. Pretty straightforward, right? So we're back there, we're doing that stuff. We're trying to keep our head up. Now, it's important for us to be situation aware. So as we're writing things down, calling the radio, checking on our terminals, things like that. Occasionally we're looking up. And if we're looking up and we see more movement in here, again, we're thinking, what's going on? There's been times I've stopped, I put documents down, I come up, I say, you all right, sir? What's going on in here? What you doing? What you looking for something? You know, you all right? You okay? You know, but if I just see him in there, you don't necessarily need your hands on the wheel the whole time. But if he's just sitting there tight like he is, just patiently waiting, you know, that's kind of setting my mind at ease. And when he sees me on approach again, you know, from his mirror, you know, maybe the hands go back up on the wheel. Hey, sir, you know, go a little too fast today. Why don't you slow it down? There's your documents. Hey, drive safe. Hey, appreciate you telling me about that firearm. Have a good day. You know, that goes a long ways. It really does. Some things I've seen before that have always startled me is maybe you know, somebody doesn't disclose they have a firearm and they open a glove box and I see a pistol sitting right there. You know, instantly that's going to put us on edge, and instantly my reaction is going to be put your hands up, you know, and the tone of my voice is going to change, and the traffic stop has just changed completely. Not that you necessarily you didn't break any law, you didn't necessarily create any violation there, but you've just exposed a firearm in front of a police officer without telling them about it, and you're reaching towards it. That's never a good thing, you know. So the demeanor of the police officer is going to change instantly. You're probably going to get some very specific instructions. But I've seen that happen. Like, hey, why didn't you tell me about that? What did you seriously? You got a gun right there? That's where your registration is? You're not going to tell me about it? Hey, you don't have to. Yeah, I appreciate you don't have to, but you know, maybe use a little bit of common sense. You know, so that really goes a long way. So I certainly see that. So this courteous type behavior goes a long way. And you know, not that you're trying to get one over on the 5-0 out there, but being courteous and polite really goes a long way. Really, truly goes a long way. You know, you're having a bad day, you're running late, you know, we all make mistakes sometimes and we go a little too fast, we run a stop sign or something like that. But just being courteous and recognizing maybe you did something wrong, even if you're like, I know I wasn't speeding, I know I stopped at that stoplight. Even if you know that, just kind of accept what's going on here. If you do get a ticket, realize, you know, hey, the beauty of these United States is we are innocent until proven guilty, and you can certainly dispute that charge in a court at a later date. But this is never the right time to dispute it, and you're never going to win the battle is the reality. So kind of, you know, be courteous, be polite, be nice, you know, accept what may be coming as far as a fine or a fee or something or a ticket, and have a smile on your face, and that really goes a long ways. I'll tell you what, you know, it truly goes a long way just being courteous and nice. So Brian, anything else?
Yeah, some of the things I learned from you that I think are important is, you know, carrying a firearm along comes with that higher responsibility, a higher level of responsibility. So, you know, before I didn't always have my license and my license to carry. It would always be buried in my wallet somewhere in my back pocket. But hearing some of your advice, now these are on the top of my wallet, right in the front, and right here. So if I do get pulled over, I'm not reaching, I'm not fishing for things. I can have that right here and in my hand right away. And so, you know, the officer sees that I have that. So I've changed my habits from that standpoint too. Yeah. I mean, and I never realized the perspective from the police officer. Yeah. I thought it was a big deal. I'm going over, I'm reaching in my wallet. Well, could be reaching for my firearm. Yeah. So, you know, I took that advice and I make sure that it's real quick and easy that I can get my credentials here. Awesome. So that's one. And I guess questions I have are, you know, is it better for me, even though you asked me for my license and I told you I had a firearm, is it better for me to give you my license to carry card right at the same time and show that I'm a responsible person? And so that little extra
I don't see why not, and that's a great point. Even if you haven't got to the point, you're planning on letting the officer know that you're carrying a gun, but you know, as you're producing your documents, you got license, registration, proof of insurance, and you got your concealed carry card right there. That's typically going to stir the question. Hey, sir, appreciate you showing me this. Do you have a gun on you today? You carrying?
Yes.
You know, and where is it? You know, so those questions would follow. So that's good. You know, those are good pickups right there.
So communicating right away. So if they ask me if I have a firearm, is it better to just not say yes, but to say, I do, it's on my 4 o'clock in my hip, or I do, it's in my glove compartment, what would you like me to do?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think both are good answers. Disclosing it sooner the better is always good advice. You know, the sooner you get out there, it shouldn't be the instant thing, but you know, before you reach anything, you want to get that out there. That's really important. You know, and producing the documents like we talked about. If you already have the documents out, then that's fine. You know, my advice would be to wait. You know, but as you're getting them out, you know, and you got your concealed carry card there, you know, that's typically going to stir the question. So we go either way there. How about this case, Brian? I think maybe you've talked about this before and had the situation happen to you, but How about if officer, you know, in some cases, I've seen cases where they ask to hold your gun for whatever reason, or temporarily confiscate it, something like that, for whatever reason. You know, is that certainly not the time to argue with them, right? You know, that you're not going to win that one right there. So, you know, if that were to happen to you in an extremely rare circumstance, my advice to you as the citizen in the vehicle or out there on the street is not to handle your firearm. My advice to you is be like, hey sir, happy to hand over my firearm to you, but not physically. You know, it's on my hip. I'd be more comfortable if you took it from me. You know, what you don't want is you don't want to introduce gun handling by yourself in an interaction with law enforcement.
Being on the side of a highway with your gun out and in your hand in front of a police officer.
Yeah, just there's a lot of perception there. There's the unknown, and it could go from a situation of I'm perceiving something's about to go down, even though I asked him to see his firearm. I just personally wouldn't even do that. You know, I would take it, you know, myself and put him at a position of disadvantage first. You know, so that's good advice right there. Is he not, you know, even if asked, you know, hey, why don't you go ahead and hand me that gun? Be like, so I'd be a whole lot more comfortable, and do it, you know, politely. Hey, so I'm going to keep my hands up on the wheel. I'd be a lot more comfortable if maybe you retrieved it, if you wouldn't mind. You know, probably some good advice. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So yeah. So I hope you picked up some things there. You know, police officer's perspective, Brian's perspective. You know, and again, this isn't legal advice, and none of these things you have to do. You know, like we said, there may be circumstances, depending on what state you are in, that you do have to disclose you have your gun on you if you get a permit. Some states you don't. So that is a piece of legal advice there. But this is just general advice. You know, from police officers who pull over a lot of cars and still pull over cars. You know, just some things to consider. And this will go a long ways. I mean, occasionally, you know, I've been pulled over myself, and I do the exact same thing. You know, instead of a permit, it's a badge when asked. I just want to let you know I got a gun in the car. You got a permit? Nope, I've got a badge. I'm an off-duty police officer. You know, so you know, just that, they go a long ways. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you pick up some information, and maybe this keep you safer out there. And who knows, maybe get you out of a ticket. Who knows, something like that. So hope you enjoyed it. For more information, make sure you get on E3 Firearm Association.com for more information, more videos, and you know, don't forget to like us and share us and all that good stuff. Hey, good afternoon, sir. Officer Painchaud with the police department. Just want to let you know, going a little bit fast back there. That's the reason I pulled you over. You got a valid license and insurance on you?
Yeah, I do. But I also, officer, I have a firearm in the car. I'm licensed to carry.
Hey, I appreciate you letting me know. Really appreciate that, sir. Where is your gun located?
It's on my hip at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
What would you like me to do?
Well, I'd like you, actually, where's your driver's license?
It's on my console here in the middle.
It's in the console. All right, go ahead. Open up the console. Go ahead, get that for me if you don't mind.
Here you go in here. This is my license to carry also.
Perfect, thank you. And you got registration?
I do.
All right, where's that located?
It's in my console here.
Anything in the console I should be concerned about?
No.
No, okay, go ahead and get that for me if you don't mind. Perfect, appreciate it. All right, sir, I'll be back.
Thanks.
All right, sir, there's documents. Hey, just slow it down out there. Wrote your warning today. You know, be safe. Have a safe day.
Thanks. Hey, what's up?
Hey,
What's
sir,
the problem?
Hey, sir, I'm Officer Painchaud, the police department. The reason I pulled you over today, going a little bit too fast. You got a license registration handy?
Yeah, I do. Hold on.
Hey, whoa, put your hands up. Put your hands on top of the wheel right now. Don't move. Got a firearm right there?
Yeah, it is.
You're reaching in the glove box for a firearm, and that you're not going to let me know about
what's the
that?
problem?
Hey, you know, I realize in the state that's not a requirement, but hey, you know, you're reaching towards a firearm. I'm a police officer. You think that's a smart thing to do? You know, probably not. Is the answer to that question. You know, where's your license registration located? Keep your hands right there.
It's in the middle of my car here.
All right, yeah. Why don't you slowly retrieve that right there for me?
Yeah.
Hey, sir, what you doing? Get back in the car, please. Get back in the car.
What's the problem?
Just have a seat in the car, please, sir. And put your hands up top of the wheel for me. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Hey, just a lot of traffic out here today, sir. Just don't want you getting hurt, all right? Hey, folks, that's definitely something you don't want to do on traffic stop is just immediately get out of the car. Once it alarms us as to why you're getting out of the car, and really more importantly, for your safety and ours, you know, your safety, traffic's coming this way, and you really should just be, you know, seated in your car unless specifically told to get out. Something to think about.